So I had a couple of meters of this sequined fabric and about an hour, so I decided to turn it into the world's simplest skirt. I started by trimming one side of the fabric up to where the sequins are. And that's all you need to do to finish this, because it's on a mesh that isn't going to fray. So you don't need to hem it or anything like that. So this is going to be the bottom of the skirt. And then each of the sides was just a little bit off square. So I lined it up on my cutting mat and just used my rotary cutter to make sure the sides were nice and neat. The sequins actually cut through really quite nicely. I just used my scissors to cut through any little bits that didn't quite get done with the rotary cutter. Next, I decided how long I wanted my skirt to be and just used a few pins to mark it, and then trimmed it to the right length. Then I put the fabric right sides together and pinned down the side seam. Because the fabric was a little bit stretchy, I sewed it with a zigzag stitch that allows the fabric to retain its stretch. And again, because the fabric's not going to fray, I didn't use anything to finish the seams. I just sewed them the once and that was it. I'd never sewed sequined fabric before and I didn't quite know how it was going to be, but the sewing machine coped absolutely fine with it. The needle kept going through, and I think once in the whole thing I had to lift the foot up and release a sequin that got trapped. But other than that, I didn't have a problem. Next, I sewed the waistband just by turning it over a couple of times and then stitching it again with a zigzag stitch. Now, I think that if I was doing this again, I'd probably just turn it over once. I think I was a bit generous in the amount of fabric I left for the waistband. And it was maybe a little bit bulky. So I think if I was doing it again, I'd just turn it over the once. I'm making an elasticated waistband, and so I'm sewing a channel. So I'm making sure that when I sew my waistband, I'm leaving enough of a channel to thread my elastic through. Also, I made sure that when I sewed all the way around the skirt, around the top of the skirt, I left a couple of inches opening so that I can thread my elastic through there and all the way around. The easiest way to thread your elastic is to attach one end of it to a really nice big safety pin, and then you can use the safety pin to pull the elastic through. And then when I got to the other end, I actually went and tried the skirt on, decided how tight I wanted it, and then clipped the other end of the elastic to the same safety pin. And then it was a case of sewing together the two bits of elastic. Now, I didn't do a lot of planning in making this skirt, so the elastic that I've used is actually quite thin because it's just what I happen to have in stock. So if you're going to go out and buy supplies to make a skirt like this, then I'd recommend getting something a little bit thicker. And then I just went over the join in the elastic a few times, zigzagging backwards and forwards, just to make sure, really sure, that it doesn't ping apart while I'm wearing it. Now all that's left to do is to sew closed the channel of your waistband, those couple of inches that you left open to access the elastic, and then you're ready to go. Put on your skirt, look fabulous. Now I've made this with sequins, but you could really make this skirt with anything. You might just need to do a little bit more hemming and finishing if you're using a fabric like cotton that's going to fray. But if you do make a skirt like this, please do let me know. I'd love to see the fruits of your labours. And yeah, enjoy the video, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks. Bye.